Ready? Today we're going to be working on the slope-intercept form, which is section 5.6 in your book, slope-intercept form. Day 1. Day 1. Your homework tonight's page 338. I'll tell you which ones. It's number 14 through 38 even. You graph on the paper numbers 14, 16, 22, 24, 26, 28. There are 6 graphs. There should be 6 graphs to graph on the separate paper. So on the other graph, you're going to write down the following. So on the additional graph paper, you're going to have 14, 16, 22, 24, 26, and 28. Graph them on the front and back. There's 6 graphs, just like that. Set it up like that. You're going to staple it to your work tomorrow. Did you write it down? That's the one. Any questions? Any questions? Are you sure? My goal every day is when you come in, you learn something new every single day. The expectations are the same. There's no inconsistencies what we do. Everything. The rules are all the same. The procedures are all the same. Just keep that in mind. Okay? That's how it should be done. Here we go. Questions before we begin? Yes, one for notes, one graph paper for notes, one graph paper for homework. Ready? Here we go. The formula. The formula. Y equals mx plus b. Y equals mx plus b. Now we're going to graph without tables. We're going to graph strictly, sit up, sir. We're going to graph strictly by looking at the equation. By looking at the equation, you should be able to graph it in your head eventually. Okay? So this is a slope-intercept form. Why would this be called the slope-intercept form? Well, look closely at the equation or formula. M and a B. This M is your slope. Slope form. Slope. Okay. There's your X value. Yes. B. What B does that denote? What letter? The y-intercept. This is your y-intercept. BY. AX plus BY equals C, the standard form. This is your y-intercept. This is your y. We always solve for y equals the slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept. 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 Slope, y-intercept. Slope, y-intercept. Slope, y-intercept. The slope-intercept form. So looking at your typed notes here, I typed these notes out for a reason. I want you to keep this for the next 5 years, 4 years. Because this tells you pretty much, I wrote this, okay? This tells you how to graph a line. If you forget, y equals mx plus b. M is a slope, b is a y-intercept. Think of m for slope of how you move your points. And b is where the point begins. This relates to the way linear equations are graphed by hand. Use the b value to plot the beginning point, 0b. B also means 0y. The m value instructs you where to move your from point to point. That gives you the line. So we're only going to be looking at an equation and graphing it straight from the equation. No tables are needed. Ever. Again. Questions so far? Are you sure? So then, how do I know how to graph? Well, let's practice. Questions about how the formula is broken down? Any questions? No? Anybody? Yes?
So you multiply your slope by x?
Not necessarily not multiplying, but we'll actually let's go. That's something to talk about. Let's talk about that really quick. Yes.
Why do you have y equals but b is y?
B is the y-intercept. This is where it's 0, y. This is where it crosses the y-axis. Y is your solution. So I think once we get into it, it'll make a lot of sense. I promise. Okay. So the first part of your homework will ask you, write an equation. Substitute in the formula. If they tell you the slope is 3/4 and the y-intercept, they tell you it's -2. How do I write my y equals? How do I write the equation for a line? Using only what they tell us. What do I substitute it in? Okay. So let's write down the formula first. Y equals mx plus b. Now, more specifically, I'm substituting in 3/4 where m is. I'm substituting in -2 where b is. You cannot say plus minus. It's either plus or minus. Ethan, what do you think? What's the equation here? What's my y equals? Three-fourths x. Nope.
Negative.
Minus 2. Minus 2. Minus 2. mx plus b. 3/4 is your slope. -2 is your y-intercept. 3/4 x minus 2. You're substituting it in where they need to go. Alright? This is new, so it's going to be a little weird. We'll do this again tomorrow. Questions? Huh? We're going to graph it next. That's the answer. Y equals mx plus b. I'm going to teach it in just about 6 minutes. Give me time. Let's set this up first. Slope is -12. Y-intercept is -1/2. Write your equation. Write your equation. Hold on.
Oh, you just have a question?
Stephen, what is your equation?
Y equals -12.
What's the equation for slope-intercept?
Y equals mx plus b.
Okay, mx plus b. So Leslie, what am I substituting in? Okay, so I have y equals -12x, not plus, minus 1/2. Not plus minus, just minus 1/2. That's my equation. Y equals mx plus b. Slope, intercept. Slope, intercept. Slope, intercept. Questions? Yes? That's part 1 of it. This is first part. Let's continue practicing this. Slope is -1. The y-intercept is 0. Slope is -1. The y-intercept is 0. Slope is -1. The y-intercept is 0. Be careful about this one. This one's a little tricky. Ever. What's my equation for the slope-intercept form? Mx plus b. Sergio, what am I substituting in?
-1 plus
Okay, and?
0 for
Okay, and then my equation rewritten? Kamari?
y equals
-1, x, just this for now, let's talk about plus 0. And let's talk about y. Do we need this plus 0?
No.
Right? We don't need this plus 0, so that kind of cancels out. And we really, in reality, don't really need that 1 here. Okay? So really you have negative x. Y equals negative x. What is that called? You're related to it. This is your mother function, or your parent function. But because this is negative, this is your negative mother function. Negative parent function. It actually does this. It goes through 0, 0. That's what it is. Is there a slope? Yeah, it's -1, right? What happens if this happens? Let's see. The slope is 0. The y-intercept is -5. This one is a tricky one too. Slope is 0, but the y-intercept is -5. I don't know. Prove it. Are you going to sit there and milk the whole period or what? Are you seeing the milk? You're going to milk the whole period? Or did you already did it? Huh? Did you finish it? Okay. What's my slope-intercept form? Okay. What am I substituting in? Okay. Then what's my equation? No. 0. In this case, 0x minus 5. But what happens if it's 0x? 0 times x is 0. That actually goes away. Guess what? 0 slope. You should see this in your head right away. This was on your test yesterday. Y -5 should be right here. This was on your test yesterday. 0 slope at -5. All the y's repeat. If you miss this one, you know who you are, because I do. You ask me after class, I can tell you. Yes, of course. Yes. Questions so far on the substitution? Now, let's make this even more tricky. Let's now solve for the standard form. Sorry. 2x plus 3y equals 6. The difference is that now you have to solve. What's wrong with that equation? It's in standard form. But what do I need to solve for? Solve for y. Solve for y. Just y only. Solve for y only. That's how you graph a line. So in this problem, Daniela, what do we have to move over first? Subtract 2x on both sides of the sign. Okay. Bring down the 3y. Put it in order. -2x plus 6. This is not correct yet. Divide by 3, Sergio. Divide by 3. That reduces the y to be y by itself. -2/3 x plus 2. Y equals 2x. Yeah, it is. It's pretty simple. We've been working on this for a while now. Okay. 2/3 x plus 2. Is this a negative or a positive slope? Yeah, what's my slope?
Negative 2.
Right, and then my 0, and then here, it's going to be 0, 2. That's my y-intercept. Let's start graphing now. Yes?
Oh, like, how do you know, you have to get the x and y because you're like, I see to do that?
It will tell you to do it. But here, if it's to solve for a line, solve for y equals. Yes? What's y? Oh, right here. We'll actually talk about it right now. Okay, so let's go to the graphing. Let's go to the graph paper. Let's graph for the rest of the period. I think this will answer even more questions that you may have in your head. First one without a table. Now you're graphing strictly from the equation. Strictly looking at the equation only. No more tables. No more covering things up. You're going to strictly look at the graph and graph it. You can do this in your head. You should start this should be done in your head soon. You can kind of see it mentally, look at it, and see what it looks like. Y equals 4x minus 3. Is it in the slope-intercept form?
Yes.
What is it though? Y equals mx plus b. Okay. What's my slope?
4.
Okay. The slope is 4. Let's make this a fraction, so it's easier to graph. In this case, slope is 4. 4 over 1. The y-intercept, where does it cross the y-axis?
0, negative
0, negative 3. I'm making this a point, so it's easier. On the back of your typed notes, there are specific graphing steps that I gave to you. How to use a formula. Solve for y equals, identify the intercept and the slope, identify the slope, draw the coordinate plane, and draw the line. Because we already have the point and the slope, students, the first point that should always go in a graph is always on the y-axis. That first point better be on that y-axis or else it's wrong. For now. Okay? So the first point we'll graph is 0, negative 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. 0, negative 3. What's my slope?
4 over 1.
Okay, from that point, move up 4 to the right 1. Positive 1, 2, 3, 4, right 1. Up 1, 2, 3, 4, right 1. All we really need is 3 points for now. Once you have 3 points, graph the line. Arrows in the end. There's your slope. Here's your graph. The slope tells you how to move. The B tells you where to start. No graphs. No tables are needed. You can do this. You'll be surprised about how many students of your friends will not know how to do this next year. Questions so far? Shall we do another one?
Yes.
I'm going to walk around here. Y equals negative 3/4 x plus 5. Oh, I'm going to put down. Identify the slope, right? If it's positive or negative, identify the b. That will make your life a lot easier. You'll miss less problems. Identify the slope, identify the b, right, positive or negative. And you graph a line, minimum of 3 points and a arrow at the end. You do some graphs for Guys, hold on. You guys speak up. Yes. Yes. No. I'm kidding. Yes. Okay. Here we go. It's already solved for y equals. Emily, what is my slope? What's my y-intercept? First point I graph. 0, 5. This is a negative slope, so make sure it goes down. So 0, 5, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There it is right there. It's a negative slope. Now this is where the confusion happens. You go down 3, down 1, 2, 3, but always go to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Down 1, 2, 3, right 1, 2, 3, 4. Gives you a staircase, negative slope. If you go down 3 but then to the left 4, that gives you a positive slope. The top number, make that a negative. The bottom is positive. That's why it's a negative fraction. And then you graph your line down to the ground, arrows in the end.
So it'll be wrong if you went up to the right.
Yeah, that would be a positive slope. Yes, that would be a positive slope. So up 3 to the right 4 is a positive slope.
I meant up to the left.
Up 3, left 4. Yeah, because that's the wrong slope. That's the wrong slope. You didn't run over rise. Questions, comments, feedback, please. Are you sure? Are you sitting there? Are you sure? Okay. You run forward. Run forward. Let me give you one to solve. 2x minus 8y equals 16. Positive 16. 2x minus 8y equals positive 16. Sir. You're welcome.
Thank you.
What's wrong with this problem?
Oh,
It's not solved. Get it to be y equals. That is the use of the beginning of the problem. I can't solve this because it's not solved for y equals. Make sure it's solved for y equals first. Make that fraction. Make that a fraction. Reduce that fraction. It's easy because we've been working on it. Right? Gotta keep that in mind. Son, arrows. Where's your ruler? Arrows in the end. Leave that ruler in your binder. Here we go. You ready? First step. Sarah Jo. Okay, subtract 2x. Bring down 8y. Bring down negative 2x. Bring down 16. Excellent. Next one. Yes. Divide by not 8. Divide by negative 8. And you get y equals. Reduce it. Be careful. Positive 1/4 x minus 2. That should be your equation. Which gives you the slope. The slope is what? Positive or negative? This is a positive slope at 0, negative 2. 0, negative 2, right here, 1/4. This is right here. Up 1 to the right 4. Up 1 to the right 4. Up 1 to the right 4. 2, 3. So then you graph this. Arrow, very shallow. It's a very shallow slope. It's like stepping in a rain puddle. That's a shallow water, right? Versus stepping into the river. That's a very steep slope. Questions? Okay, let's move on. Let's go to the back page. I want to graph. What happens if I have this equation? Negative y minus 2x equals 6. Oops, sorry. Negative y minus 2x equals positive 6. Think 2 steps ahead. What is the last step that you have to do to this equation? Divide by negative 1. That is the point of algebra. It is torturous, but it helps you think through steps and solve through your problems. All right. So Toby Ann, what's the first step I do? Add 2x to both sides. Bring down the negative y, bring down the 2x, bring down the negative 6. No, positive 6. This is wrong if you live like this. Divide by negative 1. Y equals minus 6. There's my equation. The first point the slope, and then my b. 0, negative 6. Again, it's always on the y-axis. 0, negative 6. First point's always on the axis 3, 4, 5, 6. The slope is negative. The line continues going down. To the right 1, down 2, to the right 1, down 2, to the right 1. So when I graph this, it does this. Negative slope. Questions on how I graphed? Down. Hold on, I'm not done yet. I'm not done. Down 2 to the right 1. I'm not done yet. Last one, because I don't want to hear any questions tomorrow about. What happens if you're only given 2 points? 0, negative 2, 3, 4. We can do that, but because the graphs is given to us and the numbers are small, can we just put these numbers on the graph? Yeah. 0, negative 2, 3, positive 4. Okay. Questions about how I got those 2 points on here? What's my slope? It's a positive slope. I go up how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I go over 1, 2, 3. Reduce that slope, please. 2 over 1. What's my equation? What's my slope? What's my b? What's the first point I graph on the 0, negative 2? So what's my equation? Y equals what? Just 2. Just for now. 2. Keep going. X minus 2. Boom. That's my equation. There's my line. We'll practice it again tomorrow. I'll load this online if you need to watch it again. But there's 6 graphs tonight.